What is going on, you guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be working on the EF sedan a little bit. Now the Project CRX is on the driveway. From the previous video of the days off vlog, you guys seen that we've cleaned the backyard a little bit, and I found another hood that I actually swapped onto the CRX, and it's a much better condition hood, but it had a lot more dents. So off camera I've been using this stud welder to pop as much of the dent out as possible and then laying down some filler. The last couple of days I've just been tinkering with the hood, hour or two here, hour or two there, but my workstation is kind of jam-packed with a lot of things. We have Rage body filler. I've used a lot of Rage or Evercoat product, mask, sanding paper, a lot of like hardeners and spot putty filler. I have like 2 or 3 of these, I don't know why, but spot putty filler. Behind me I got my little tool bag of bodywork equipment, guide codes, primer, and all of that good jazz. So I got to take off to the storage unit to grab one of the main items for today's task, and then once we get back we'll swap the CRX with the sedan and start unboxing a lot of the stuff that you guys see right here. So let's get to it. Okay, so I didn't know this. Today is potential chance of rain, and it was raining when I went to the storage unit. So before I push this car out into the opening, away from this, I'm gonna do the body work, and I'm going to prime it all up before I put it over there. I want to make sure that the weather is not going to mess up with the filler or the bare metal. So I'm going to take care of this. Don't worry, guys. I'm making little snippets here and there and here to put this whole body work video together for the Project CRX. I don't know if I mentioned this before. The car is up for sale. But while it's still in my possession, I'm still gonna put work into it, and if I end up painting the car before I sell it, then I'll raise the price up. But for right now, I'm just doing body work here and there just to keep myself busy. So a lot of these little body work and stuff is gonna be snippet to a later video. So I'm gonna go ahead and just knock this out real quick so we can keep this video entirely on that car. I think my GoPro battery died, but man, love how it's nice and quiet. I just drove it around the block and this car feels really good. I'm just letting it idle a little bit because the battery was kind of dead. Had to kickstart it, but I'm gonna let it kind of charge a little bit or turn it off and put it on a trickle charger. So before I get to this, let's talk about what we're doing. BullBoostPerformance, shout out to BullBoost for coming on board with the channel, and thank you so much for all of the items you guys have sent so far for some of the builds. This right here is pretty much the motor mount kit that we're going to be using. And cut away from yourself, not toward yourself, just change the blade really sharp. Now you guys know the motor mounts that we used in Project Blueberry is from eBay, and it is holding up perfectly. And I decided that because I like to keep stuff on a budget build, BullBoostPerformance had a set of motor mounts for the EF, but unfortunately this is the front wheel drive motor mount kit. So we're only be using the rears, and I'm gonna have to fabricate a back mount for the all-wheel drive. But I will tell you that because of the quality and because of how well it holds up in Blueberry, I wanted to give this a shot in the EF sedan build. So I'm gonna say right now, big shout out to BullBoost for the care package, because I didn't expect this. But we got some t-shirts right here from BullBoost. Thank you so much. Oh, we have 2 on top of that, so shout out. We do have some other items right here, which is actually for my brother's car, so we're probably going to cover this in a different video. Ooh, little heavy thing. So right here, motor mount kit, Bull Boost. Damn, I'm surprised they were able to put all of it in this little box. This right here doesn't specify, but I've done this so many times, I'll know where these mounts go. This one right here is for the passenger side. This one goes on the post mount on the timing chain side. This one right here is the driver's side transmission bracket mount. This is also the dual height, so you can interchange it if you want to drop the engine lower in case you're running a K24. Fortunate for us, well, it doesn't matter which way I run it. We're running a K20, so hopefully we don't have any hood clearance issue, which we shouldn't, because shout out to Slimeball, we got the SIR style hood for the build as well. This one here is the wishbone. This is for the rear mount. We're definitely going to be using this. This is the passenger side frame rail mount. This is what mounts to the motor mount right here, like that, right? This here is the rear mount. I'm not entirely sure how well this is going to work with the all-wheel drive transmission, but we'll test fit and see where it sits. And if it need to be, I'll just modify this one. We'll see. But if you're front-wheel drive, you shouldn't have any issues. Transmission driver side mount. This one goes through the 3-bolt this way or this way. Cool thing is they do provide all of the hardware. That's freaking awesome. This right here is the back mount that sits on the subframe. That is for the wishbone, like so. And they do also provide a little tab to help support this end so it doesn't bow under torque. Bow or bow? Let me know in the comments below which is the right way to say it, bow or bow. If you are new to K-swap and the EF, this prop valve is not going to be able to sit right there because that's where the valve cover is going to be sitting at. And what you need to do is you need to move it. Now, if you want to just get it to work, most people would just take it off and then they bend it safely to the firewall like this, right? I'm not going to bend it all the way because I'm not going to do just that. What I'm going to be doing is later, when the engine's all fitted and everything, and then the engine's back out, I'm going to take this off entirely because my whole suspension is going to be coming apart for a rebuild. So I'm going to be taking the prop valve and moving it lower down here, and then I'm going to bend new lines for it. So right now, we just need it out of the way. For what we need to do is, with this passenger motor mount, we're going to be lobbing this off. We're going to be cutting all the spot welds. If you're not going to be putting it back, you don't have to worry about cutting it perfectly. So I think instead of just drilling out the spot welds, I'm just gonna cut it. I'm gonna cut it all the way through, take this all out, and then clear out all that metal. So you can use whatever variety of tools will work for you. For me, power of YouTube. Yes, sir. So we have the passenger side motor mount, take it off, and I used a variety of tools such as a little belt sander from Harbor Freight, my DeWalt grinder, Milwaukee grinder with a flap disc on it, hammer and chisel, and finished off with a DA sander. Now this is gonna need a little filling because I did cut a little deep on some spot, but nonetheless you can't really see it. The area we need to work with is right here for the passenger side engine mount and bracket, and I'm gonna go ahead and grab that now so we can mock it up. The holes should line up. I believe it's this one and this one down low. Okay, so I'm just looking at my memory card and there's only 5 minutes left. I have 3 hours on the memory card now, and the frame rail mount right here should bolt up with this hole on top and then this one right here down low. You're gonna have to shimmy it around to make sure it lines up. And the EF, I believe the DA as well needs to be welded in. The DC, EK, and EG, it actually gets bolted straight through the frame rail and you don't have to weld it. Same like I did for the Blueberry. So this right here gets bolted up, and we're not going to fully weld it in just yet. I want to put the entire engine in, make sure everything is aligned, shift it around accordingly, and then once the engine comes back out, then we weld everything in. So this should line up. Okay, not so much. Bolt this down real quick a little bit, and then this one lines up, right? So you can see 2 bolts are in, but it shifted the bracket up. So now I have this little gap right here, and I don't know how I feel about it. But if I take this bolt out, you can see it now sits flat. So if it sits flat, hole doesn't line up. If I do move it up to line it up, we have this little gap right there. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm probably gonna widen up that hole a little bit just so I can put a bolt through there and have this sit flat. So this is what I mean by the adjustments. You know, put the engine in, move it around, make sure it's Gucci, then weld it up. I'm also gonna mark it as well, so that way when I take it off, I know where to grind, because I'm not gonna take the paint all the way out on the back side, because we're not gonna be able to paint back there. Definitely don't want moisture in there to create rust later down the road. So I'm gonna go ahead and open that up and get that bolt bolted in. Man, I think I spent more time looking for a freaking dowel pin, because I want to make sure the transmission is aligned to the long block, since we are not installing a clutch right now. Guys, we took off the intake manifold because we're not going to be needing it. Be easier to shimmy the engine into the engine bay from underneath the car. Transmission installed. No starter, no clutch, no flywheel, because all this is going to come back out. All this is going to get cleaned. We're going to be doing the timing chain, tensioner, probably head gasket, rebuilt the cylinder head, the treatment that we gave Project Blueberry. So right now, before we put this into the car, we need to take off the axles, which probably not going to be in the way, but get those out of the way. Cross member is going to have to come out, because that's not going to fit with probably the bottom half. All right, it may fit, but it'll just make it easier to shimmy the engine in. And let's just do that. Let's just do, I guess, the power of YouTube again, only because I want to make more progress. Don't worry, guys, I wasn't going to entirely mount the engine in place, because we still need to talk about the motor mounts. So it is practically ready for the driver's side and the passenger side bracketry and mount. So this right here is transmission mount. This one right here, passenger. And then we're gonna have to figure out all the hardware for it, which should be easy because I've done this a bajillion times now. So what I did notice was this hole is actually open up a little bit wider than the opposite one, because this stud has a little like shoulder on it. This is the first time I'm seeing it. Before, I used to have to like drill it out myself, which kind of sucks when you spend a lot of money for motor mounts, but I took note of that, and that's freaking awesome. I am going to be running it on the highest setting, so that is the top bolt right here. I will say that there is a good amount of gap on the motor mount, which is very unusual to me. That's a lot of play. I'm gonna lower the car down so that way the studs can come all the way through and bottom this mount out on the post mount. Put a washer back here, nut, nut and a bolt. Okay, I'm not like ugga-dugging this at all. Now let's go do the transmission side. Looks like my transmission doesn't have a stud on it, so that means these hardware provided by BullBoost is going to come in clutch for that. Girls are yelling, people are honking. What's going on? Mind my business, Dana. Mind my business. All right. Now let's get this into the mount on the frame rail. All right, guys, so we have the motor mounts installed. The car is propped up on jack stands and ready for the next step. So in the rear, I installed the plate to the subframe, 2 bolts. The other 2 is back there threaded in, but not fully because all this is going to come back out. So I did test fit the rear mount, and it doesn't even fit at all, like period. Where the 2 bolts for the bottom of the bracket bolts to the transmission, the transfer case is in the way. I can go about this 2 ways. I can either buy the bracket by itself for those who have EFK2 front-wheel drive mounts that want to go all-wheel drive. You can get them separately. I think what I'm going to do is, to save time, is to build my own rear mount. So I want to continue this video tomorrow to go get some material from Home Depot and make my own rear mount. And the goal is just to get the engine entirely hung into the car with all 3. And we're gonna do that. We're gonna do that. So we're gonna continue tomorrow. I really need to buy a bigger table vise. This thing, when I'm hammering, it's just all over the place. So I went to Home Depot this morning to get a what is this, 2" by 3/16 by 48. This is the longest that they have it, and I bought a long flat stock because I don't want to run out of material. Although I do have a bunch of them here. These are a little bit thinner, 1/8, and I've already started the rear mount. So I took cardboard, cut out the same 2" as this plate here, and then used the cardboard to kind of mock up the bracketry that I'm making for the rear. Right now we only have the outside, inside, outside bolted up, and the engine itself is supported by just those 2 bars. The cross member has clearance to the back. This transmission has already been cleared for EF subframe. The back half that normally hits the steering rack, that's all chopped already, so we have it tilted back as much as possible without it actually touching, and we're gonna have more space once we swap out the power steering rack for a manual rack. So right now we have clearance, and we'll have more once the other one goes in. Right now the jack is out, so obviously it's hung on its own, and what I'm gonna do is, it's gonna be hard to show you guys, but I'm gonna just make up some plating, some bracketry to tie these 2 guys in together, and it's gonna be very similar to the one that's in the wagon, except the wagon has EFK1 motor mounts, which is the big bulky style, and not the wishbone. This is the first time I'm making an all-wheel drive mount for a wishbone style, and I have the wishbone kind of placed in a configuration as it would be with the front-wheel drive bracket. So hopefully this would hold the torque of the engine, and we do have it mounted on the side here. I'm gonna put another mounting point right here in the middle, utilizing that bolt hole, and then maybe a 4th mount somewhere else to support this entire back end, because a lot of people have issues with breaking off the back tab here of the block, and a lot of people are pretty upset about the first production of the all-wheel drive rear bracketry. So I'm just gonna go ahead and just make something up here, and then we'll show you guys, like, I guess the welding part or the aftermath. All right guys, so we lost a lot of daylight. Not really, it's just it gets really dark really early. So spend some time to really think out this bracketry. A lot of cutting, a lot of mismeasuring. That's just me, but at the end of the day, we got the rear mount made, guys. This right here is my all-wheel drive rear bracket, from the engine to the wishbone to the subframe, and this is very similar design to my wagon, but like I said, the wagon have the EFK1 motor mount, which is the bigger mount like the passenger side, and this is very similar, just a little more narrow, but still using the same mounting points, which right here goes to the block to the trans. This one right here also goes to the block, and then this one over here goes to the top of the block, which is right here in the back. We'll show you guys when we install it, but I made a bracket right here because I wanted to utilize this 12 mil. The other kits, the version 1s, didn't really use that hole, and then they started using the hole on like the second kit around. Don't mind all my burger welds. I was trying to weld with the MIG welder and realized that my 110 just wasn't enough because it kept cutting out my outlet, and then I reverted over to TIG welding on the Everlast machine. But anyways, we added a bottom plate here to tie the 2 left and right side bracket together, and that should be plenty of strong. This right here, I had to make 2-piece to really give it the you know, the edge to weld this plate on and the back plate, so that's why there's 2-piece right here. But like I said, this is the same way I did it on the wagon. The wagon's been all-wheel drive for about 4 years now, and it's been holding up perfectly fine. So before I paint all of this, I'm going to put it back in, just really show you guys that this thing is going to hang on its own. It's going to be plenty of strong. Once everything comes back out, then we'll paint this. Probably going to wrinkle black it just to give it a nice little touch. But let's go ahead and get this back into the car. Rear mount going down tonight. Where's my 12 at? I'm using a short one right now just so I can thread it in and out easy. But when I do put it in for the final time, I will put a longer 12 just to thread it further into the block. So right now, I'm going to thread the center 12 first. Make sure it's threaded. Make sure it's nice and flush to the block. The helicopter's out. On the top here to the block is a 17 mil. I'm running, well, it's like 1.25 inches. You don't want to run too long because then it can break through the other side of the block. You don't want to run too short because, you know, we need all the clamping force with the threads to the bracket. And then on the bottom, I'm just using this extra long bolt right now with 3 washers because I don't have the correct length yet. This one goes to the block, to the trans. Okay. And then before I tighten anything down, I want to make sure I install the last one here. Wishbone to the subframe mount. All the way through. Wishbone. All right, well, that is my rear all-wheel drive bracket for the BullBoost K-Series mount kit. Booyah. Give you guys one more look here. Look at that. Look at that. I did that, yes sir. Now I'm gonna go ahead and pop this jack off real quick. What the hell? Big pause. Boy, that motor didn't even move. Hey, I need your like muscle to like shake this real quick. Pretend it's a K-Series torquing backwards, you know, because K-Series torque backwards. Look, okay, I'm gonna try to stand as still as possible. Okay, I'm gonna have this Gorilla Grip guy shake this. My guy. Oh yeah, that motor mount's not tightened, so it's gonna shake a little bit.
But it's good.
Oh, it's Gucci potatoes, bro. Gucci potatoes. Now if I make a gang of horsepower, I can always put a mid plate on, but I don't have a mid plate in any of my other cars, so I think we should be good. Damn, well, I ain't gonna lie to you, man, this thing looks, I'm excited. So guys, we're gonna cap out this video right here. What I wanted to do was prep the bay a little bit and install the BullBoostPerformance motor mount kit for the K-Series EF. If you're front wheel drive, you don't have to do the rear mount like I did. The rear mount that provided with the kit should fit perfectly with the front wheel drive transmission. Now the all wheel drive transmission, you can buy the bracket separately from a different company. Otherwise, if you have tools like me, you can make your own rear mount and save costs that way. So we finally got the K swap sitting in the engine bay, looking just right. This is on the high setting as well too, and I'm surprised that it actually like almost fully closed with the hood. It just caps the valve cover right here to that corner, so if I cut this section out, it'll probably close the hood. And if I drop the engine on the lower mount setting, I think it'll have no issues with the stock factory hood. But we are going to be rocking the SIR style provided by Slimeball, because I really like the profile of the hump, like the JDM hoods and stuff, and it'll also give me all of that extra clearance with the ground to be able to bring the engine up and shut the hood. So K-swap is in, guys. This is what we're doing. K-swap, turbo all-wheel drive, and this is the first big step. And like I mentioned earlier in this video, I'm gonna be prepping everything in the bay first before we spray it. So I do still need an intake manifold, but I think after now having the engine hung on all 3 mounts, we might, the key word here is might, just might, start fitting up the turbo kit to see what kind of space we have back there for downpipes, dump tubes, and then eventually I'm going to move up to the intercooler. And then once we get the manifold, we'll do all the charge pipe. Once everything is cut and fitted and done and out of the way, pull this whole entire thing back out, and then we'll prep the bay for paint. So I'm gonna wrap it up right here. Hope you guys enjoyed the progress update on the EF sedan build. I don't have a name for this car. I don't have, it's a dream build. The dream build EF sedan, I don't know, but if you guys enjoyed today's video, man, be sure to leave a thumbs up if you guys want to stick around for more progress update of this car, because now we are moving forward most definitely. Be sure to hit the subscribe button. But with that being said, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.